Dave Fingers, Wired Mustang. How
What's
you
up,
doing?
buddy? I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining me on this Saturday. It's always a pleasure to talk, well, to everybody who comes on the pod, especially people like you that I can learn from and instantly implement in my business. So we've talked a few times, and every time we talk, I learn something, and then I go make my businesses better because of something that came out of your mouth. So thank you
Well,
for joining.
thank you for the kind words. I'm glad I could be of help and provide some resources for you. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. So you own Wired Mustang, right?
Yeah, my wife and
SEO.
I.
Yeah,
My
your
wife
wife
and
and you. SEO specialists. But one thing that got just perked my ears up right when I heard it was your reputation management services.
I. Yeah.
You can explain it a lot better than me. Tell me about it.
Right. So let me put it, if I could, put it in perspective a little bit, because it is a part of what we do, and what we consider reputation management is part of a foundation when you're doing a digital marketing strategy. So if you were to picture, let's say, a pyramid, right, and the first level of that pyramid is what we call the foundation. That includes your website, making sure that you have a website that clearly reflects what you do and has the right messaging about the products and services that you provide, and it's functional. And what I mean by functional is it loads quickly. People know where to go, what to click on. They know how to get in touch with you. All those kind of good things. And then having a Google business profile, because it's very difficult to build your online reputation without a Google business profile where people can leave reviews on Google for you. So there's a lot of other places that people can leave reviews, but it seems that if somebody's going to research a company to find out, hey, are they legit? Do they do a good job? That sort of thing. They're going to look at your Google reviews for one. So Google Business Profile is part of that, and that's where our reputation management comes in, helping people get reviews on Google as well as some other platforms. Then the next level up, once that foundation is in place, how do we get our customers in front of people who are searching for their products or services today? So let's take, for example, a plumber, right? If God forbid, a pipe breaks or something, and you need a plumber, and you don't know somebody, what are most people going to do? They're going to go search online for a plumber near me. So
Yep.
how do we get those companies and those brands in front of what we call active searches or active searchers? So we consider that being, when you're building a digital marketing strategy, that's closest to the money, that's closest to the transaction. And then the next level after that would be passive searchers or passive prospects. Those are people and platforms where you can cast a broad net targeting your ideal client, but they may or may not be looking for what you're selling today or what are the services that you provide. So part of what you're doing at that point is you're building brand awareness, so people know who you are, they know what you do, so when they do have that need, they think of you, right? And then they'll click on your ad and give you a call. So those are the three things. So going back to the reputation management, we provide reputation management as a done for you service, which is pretty cool. Because like I said, regardless of how somebody finds out about your company, whether it's a referral, they find you through the chamber, a networking event, or they find you online, 98%, this is my number, I didn't make this number up, this is based on a survey that was done by a company called Bright Local, but they said 98% of people will research a company before they make a buying or purchasing decision. Yeah. So we try to make it easy for business owners to get reviews, because 65% of the reviews that are left in response to a request. So if we're not asking for it, and again, that's not my number, that's based on Bright Local's market survey, 65% of people are going to leave a review if they're asked. Not 100%, but 65%. So we make it easy. So what we do is we create a unique URL that business owners can send people to, or we can send emails out for the business owner asking people to leave a review. When they click on that link, it takes them to a standalone landing page that says something like, hey, we really value your business. Hopefully we did a great job for you. Would you leave us a review? And there's an option for them to leave a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So if they leave a thumbs up, it takes them to another page which says, where would you like to leave a review? And we give them options. One is always Google. It's always got to be Google. And then we can leave some other options. We can select those options. It can be Facebook, it can be the Better Business Bureau, whatever the case may be. And then they can click on where they want to leave that review.
Okay.
And when they get there, they can leave a review. Now, if it's thumbs down, there's also a link where it's, they can go ahead and leave a review if they're not happy, but they get a pop-up message that says, hey, we strive for 100% satisfaction. Please tell us where we went wrong. We'd love to make it right with you. And if they fill out that form, it goes straight to the business owner, and the business owner can get in touch with the customer and say, hey, we had no idea. We apologize. Let's make it right. I'll give you a perfect example where that happened. We have a client that he has a supplement company for the equine industry. So he provides equine supplements. And he was at the veterinarian with his dog, and he got that message. Lady wasn't happy. Something happened to her order. She was going to leave a bad review. He called her right away and said, hey, I'm in the office at the vet with my dog. Can I call you in 15 minutes? She goes, okay, no problem. He calls her, and lo and behold, not only did he make it right with her so that she was happy and left a positive review, he upsold her on more product. So she's continuing to be a client and a long-term client of his, long-term customer. So that's that's a win right there. And typically we significantly increase the number of reviews that people have on their Google page. Now, the other thing that people look at that we don't think about is when we're checking out reviews, most people want to see recent reviews. So if somebody's reviews are months old or a couple of years old, doesn't hold a whole lot of weight. So continuing to get consistent reviews and consistent positive reviews has a very big impact. And the other thing that's important is that the business owner or a representative from the business responds to reviews, whether they're positive or negative. So they see, oh, there's a real person there. It has some sort of psychological effect that, this is a good customer service company. So yeah, this will be somebody that I'd be interested in doing business with.
Absolutely. The thing that caught my ear about that is you send them that unique URL. And if they give you a thumbs up, you send them to Google or wherever to put their review. If they give you a thumbs down, you're not sending them directly to Google to give you a bad review. You're sending them to the business owner, to the representative, to immediately call them and try to make it right. So I love that. What an incredible service. And, we have worked hard at getting our reviews, but all we have done is asked for them at the end of the job. And then we've sent them the Google link, texted them or emailed them the Google link. And maybe we've done that twice. So there's really been 3 asks, right? Hey, let's take Spraying It, for example, my painting business. Hey, did you love your painting job? You love the way your house looks? Wonderful. Can you leave us a review? Sure, I'll leave you a review. Crickets, right? You text them, hey, thanks for the kind words, and we'd love to stay in touch. Can you please leave us a review? I'd love to leave you a review. Crickets. Then we send them an email. What's the trick? How do you get them, Now, don't get me wrong. We've gotten, 40 reviews in a year, 50 reviews in a year, something like that. But what's your trick to get them to actually give you a review?
That's a great question, because it's one thing that I failed to mention. This works really, really well for companies in the trades. And we also create a unique QR code that takes them to that link. So when are your customers most happy? Like right after you're finished, they're looking at their brand new, let's say, kitchen cabinets look better than they've ever looked. And you're finalizing all the paperwork. Hey, would you mind leaving us a review? No, not at all. Okay, great. Pull up the QR code. The tech gives them the QR code. They can scan it and do it right there. So that, and for the trades, that increases it significantly. As compared to our business, we're not typically in front of the business owner when good things are happening. So we have to rely on more of phone calls, or we do, like I said, an email drip campaign, or we'll send them a link, and when they're happy, they'll leave that. But the QR code and the drip email campaign is kind of the secret sauce.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, you've got your foundation, right? You've got your, hey, does my website work? Does it articulate our stuff? Do we have a Google Google My Business page. Next level is the reputation management. I mean, it's that fundamental, right?
Yeah.
It's not the icing on the cake. It is the foundation of
It is.
your, yeah.
It is. And here's the other thing that's very cool with our service and our system is it can integrate with a website. So meaning we can provide the code to your website developer, or we can install the code for you, and it creates a review page on your website where when somebody leaves a review, whether it's on Google or Facebook or wherever the case may be, it's going to feed directly into that page on your website. So if somebody clicks reviews on your website, it's not real time. It takes about 24 hours to propagate. But if
Okay.
you were to take a look at wiredmustang.com and you were to go to our review page, says straight from the horse's mouth, because that's our brand language, right? So
Right.
if you click on straight from the horse's mouth, you'll be able to see all those reviews, the same ones that are on Google or on Facebook, because those are the two primary platforms that we use. But within 24 hours, it shows up right there on the website. So if somebody's checking out on your website or Google, they're going to see the same reviews.
Well, that's great. That now you're not asking them to navigate away from your page to see the reviews. You know, reviews are such a, like we just said, they're so fundamental. They're so essential. Whether you call it confirmation bias or whatever it is, you know, they're part of the foundation, and that foundation needs to live on your website, and it needs to live on Google. And then the tertiary reviews, you know, what do you think of those tertiary? Important, not important, middle of the road?
Share with me what you mean by the tertiary reviews.
Well, you know, it's the Better Business Bureau, those secondary sites, I'll call them.
Yeah, they're okay. I mean, the really good ones, I will tell you that I think hold the most weight are Google and Facebook, right?
Okay.
Yelp, I know a lot of people in the trades use Yelp, but a lot of times not everybody thinks to go leave one there. And, you have to pay to be a member of Yelp. That doesn't prohibit somebody from leaving a review there, but it's a paid service, right? Essentially, they're looking for customers that they can promote their business as well. It's just another avenue in a way of promoting their business. So Google's free, Facebook is free. So I think to use, so it for any business. So I think that holds a little bit more credibility, a little bit more weight.
I think it does too. And just as a consumer, and no knock on Yelp, I mean, Yelp used to be more significant than it is. That's at least in my consumer perspective. What do you think?
No, I 100% agree with you. Yelp and like, I don't even know if it's called Angie's List anymore, but Angie's
Right.
List, things like that. I think when they first came out, they held a significant amount of credibility and weight. But with the rise in being able to leave reviews on Google and what they've done with the Google business profile, it just has a huge impact. And it's easy to find. You just type in the company's name and their profile pops right up there, right, on Google. You can see it right there. Easy to navigate, easy to get to.
Yep. So beyond the reputation management side of your business, you're an SEO specialist, right? You're working at getting, companies to rank high in Google searches, high in various searches. Everybody knows what SEO is, and everybody knows it's important. So I'm not going to bore you with basic SEO questions, but I am interested in this one. It's the evolution of SEO and how it interacts with AI. And what percentage are you seeing a percentage? I mean, obviously, and I'm experiencing this again as a consumer. I'm going to ChatGPT more often to ask a question than a year ago, 5 years ago. I'd always go to Google to ask the same question. How's that game changing with AI and SEO?
So that's a great question. So it's kind of a twofold answer. So I'll start with one, how it's changing things for Google. And that is, if you're looking for an answer to a question or information about something, and you type that in, you're not necessarily looking for a product or a service, right? You're going to see the first result that comes up is the Google AI results giving you an explanation. Now, I use it a lot. I think it's very handy. So that's going to pull information. It's not going to necessarily give you the information you're looking for, but it's not necessarily going to give you options of companies or that provide products and services. Now, from a business standpoint and from an SEO standpoint, AI is becoming a very good tool for digital marketing companies. Initially, when it first started becoming pretty prominent, Google said, "Hey, we're gonna screen any content, and if it's AI generated, you're not going to get credit for it." Well,
Yep.
they've kind of loosened that. As long as it's unique content, meaning it's not a duplicate of somebody else's content, you can use AI to write content. You just have to
Okay.
make sure that if you're going to be using it for SEO purposes, that it is unique to your product or service in your company, and it's not plagiarizing somebody else's. And
Right.
AI has gotten pretty good at doing that, but it still needs a human like myself to check that, make sure, put it through some software, make sure there's no duplicate content, what percentage of it is unique. There's not 100% unique anymore because there's so much content out there. So there's a limit on how much needs to be, or how much can be duplicate and how much needs to be unique for Google or the other search engines to give it weight. So put that in perspective, and I'm going to get a little technical, if that's
Okay.
okay, on how SEO works. So
Yeah.
there's really three pieces. And this is kind of a fun story. I like telling this. There's really three parts, to boil it down. Three parts to SEO. There's the keywords. Keywords are very important, and keywords are basically the words that people will type into the search engines to find a product or service or an answer to a question. And then there's the content on one's website that has the keywords integrated into the content, but it's
Right.
relevant. The content's relevant to those keywords, right? So
Right.
it
It's
can't.
not just a bunch of keywords put at the end. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And the funny story to that is, back in the day when SEO first started, right? And we're talking probably 20 years or more ago. There were, and there probably still are, there's white hat and black hat SEO um, people out there, right? White hat being the good guys, black hat being the bad guys, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the black hat SEO specialists, is they would, because it was all about keywords when it first came out. More keywords you had on your website for your product or service, the better. So they would plaster those keywords in the background in the same color font as the background of your website. So you had a good, you could have like a million keywords, and then you would rank. But the search engines caught on to that pretty quickly. Like, oh, wait a minute, you can't do that. It has to be good content, right?
Right.
So that's where the content comes in. And then there's also, when it comes to the content and the layout of your website, on the back end of your website, because the content's on the front with the keywords, on the back end, there's I won't bore you with the technical terms, but there's descriptions and tags and things that you put on the back end of your website that tell the search engines what's on the front end. So
Yeah.
those have to be installed and written so that it makes sense of what's on the front end. And then, so that's the first two parts. There's
Now,
keywords.
are those still relevant? The back end stuff, or is that still okay?
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
very very relevant. And then, so that's the first. That's the first two pieces: is the keywords and the on-page content.
Okay.
And then there's the off-page content and backlinks. So basically, what the search engines look for is, hey, is there information about the products and services that a company provides with some content about it, with a link to their website telling people how great they are, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Those are backlinks. So you have to do all three. You have to create backlinks, because the more backlinks you have, the more popular that the search engines feel that you are, and more credible that you are. So they're going to rank that page higher on the search engines. And that takes time. You could go out and create 10,000 backlinks in a week, but the search engines will look at that and go, oh, wait a minute, that happened awfully fast. We don't think that's relevant. We don't think that's real. So you slowly build these backlinks, and you build that offline, or excuse me, off-page presence out on the World Wide Web. So those are the three pieces that we focus on.
Yeah, when one of my partners was explaining that to me, he used the analogy of a spider web, right? And so you need all these different links, these different webs interlocking, bringing it back to you, where you want them to land, right? So when Dave Fingers says something nice about me over here and puts the link to my website, that helps, right? When Joe
Yep.
Bob does it, that helps a little more, on and on and on. But like you said, if you just, BS your way into 10,000, links on a weekend, the search engines are going to go, no, we don't buy it. We don't buy it at all. You're trying to game us. And, I think they're kind of smart over there at Google. I think they can catch on to things. They just got a few nerds on their team to figure this out, right?
Yeah, right.
So, so tell me this: how fast are you adjusting your approach as this evolution of AI SEO happens? I mean, how often are you maybe not making full pivots, but I mean, what's the pace of evolution for a business like yours?
Well, it's pretty quick, and it's important because I mean, basically, we're a digital marketing company, and digital marketing has a lot to do with technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
AI is technology, so it's important to stay on what's coming up and what's new and how things are changing. So one of the things that we do as a company is we invest on a monthly basis to be part of a digital marketing mastermind group, and these are some of the best digital marketing firms around the country. We're in all in different markets, so we don't necessarily compete with each other. We have a coach, and this coach is part of a company that built a really large digital marketing company, right? So they're out on the forefront, and every week we're talking to our peers, going, "What are you seeing here? Is this changing? How has this impacted your business, or how is this impacting SEO, or how is this impacting PPC advertising?" So we're always on the front edge of trying to stay up with it or stay in front of it, so to make sure that we make the adjustments when we need to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is one reason that my media company, so Streamline Business Media is our media company. It's what is going to process this video when we're done with it, right? It's why that company is always reaching out to guys like you, because that, Streamline, we call it SEM, just makes media, right? Now we have some strategy involved, but our primary thing is to help make it as easy as possible for people to make media. So you and I are going to record this podcast. I'm going to copy this link, upload it to unlisted on YouTube, and then I wipe my hands of it. Then the team, and it's a stack of AI, a stack of human beings, and then an English-speaking finalizer or approver, we'll call it. Processes this whole thing, chops it into chapters, chops it into long form, chops it into short form, and then posts it, in my case, on the big five, right? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Boom. That's it. It's as easy as that. But where you come in is we say, hey, Dave, what should we be talking about? Where should we be posting? And who should be on our podcast? What's the pace of which we do? What are the keywords we need to be looking at? Can you help us with our reputation management, right? Because no firm does everything. If you're the guy who does everything, you really do nothing well, right? So SBM is the easiest way we found to make media. And really, it was born because some guys did it for me. And then I'm like, that was easy. I want to invest in it. Funded the company. Tell me, that's a long-winded explanation of saying, who are your power partners? I mean, we're in a digital mastermind as well. My partner, Peter, who's the quarterback of SBM. But who are your power partners that you're constantly working with? Because I know you're being of great service to other, we'll call them digital companies in the digital ecosystem. You're a key player. Who are you serving just in the digital realm?
You mean like who are our end clients or end customers?
Yeah, end clients, end customers, power partners.
So I'll start with power partners are typically other companies that provide services to business owners, because our target market, our ideal clients are local business owners. When we started the company, we started it because we saw that there was a need for quality digital marketing services. And what I mean by quality is high touch. So we consider ourselves a high touch digital marketing firm, meaning that, as an example, Roof Evolution is one of our clients, right? So if Richard has a problem and has a question, he calls us, he's going to get myself or he's going to get Anna, and we're going to get back to him usually within the day. But if it's at like 4 or 5 o'clock and we're out of meetings, it might be the next day. So within a business day, we get
Yeah.
back to our clients, right? So so we saw a need for providing good quality, high touch digital marketing services to local businesses and getting them the results, right? And getting the results quickly. And it's kind of full circle. I'm going to go off track here a little bit because the way you were explaining the way that stream your company works, right? There's a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
there's a lot of uh, there's a lot of technology and AI that helps you with it, but it all starts with a human, right? There's
right.
nothing to do if we're not having this podcast. What's going to be created? So it's the same with us. Without the humans and us understanding what our clients are looking for, understanding their business, where they are now, where they're trying to get to, and then using the software and AI to help us get them there makes it a little bit more efficient, I would say, right? So
Yep.
back to the power partners, other companies that provide services to businesses, to business owners. We provide, and it also can be other forms of marketing. So one of our power partners is a company that does a Parker lifestyle magazine, right? So what they do, well, print marketing, right? So we've passed a lot of referrals on to her. She's passed referrals on to us. Another company that is a good power partner that we work with a lot, and they refer us business. We refer them business as a print company. So they print door hangers and direct mail and things of that sort, right? They don't do digital, right? So, and then we have a lot of companies that we work with that are in the trades that, yes, digital marketing is something that they need, but old school traditional door hangers for a company that paints houses can still be
Yep.
very efficient, right? You go out, you paint a house, hang some door hangers around the other places, stick a sign in the yard. They need a print person. We don't do print, right?
Well, and I can, I can testify to that. It is easy to think, hey, you got Facebook, you got Instagram, you shoot some before and afters. I run, one of my companies is a paint company. We're good, right? No, that door to door hanging and flyer distribution does work. It's not all SEO, right?
Right.
So you have to, I think of hunting for deals as fishing, right? So you're going to fish digitally with Facebook ads, with Google keywords. You're going to hunt digitally with SEO. You're also going to hunt, traditionally with flyers. You're also going to hunt for, or fish for, for deals out of referrals. I mean, you have to have multiple poles and multiple ponds. And the leverage used to be other humans, and we're all leveraging other humans. And then you leverage capital, right? Whether it's equity or debt, you leverage debt, you leverage tech, and you leverage, now AI, which is kind of tech on steroids. But you have all these leverage points, and you figure out which lever you should be pulling. And I humbly suggest anybody listening not to ignore too many levers. Like, you got to try all the levers or try all the fishing poles, to stick with this analogy. And then if you start yanking big trout out of a certain pond, you might want to put a few extra poles in that pond.
Yep, absolutely. And when you're using all those different channels or different poles, as you mentioned, have a strategy around it, right?
Yeah.
Just right, be very specific and very deliberate in what you're doing, and if you can connect those, even better. So as an example, the company that we refer for printing, for print marketing, there is a component to their direct mail that connects with digital, which is pretty cool. So the biggest challenge is with print in the past is, you do the direct mail. Well, what's the delivery rate? What's the, you can't see an open rate, all these different things, right? So they can track all that now digitally. And then when it's delivered, they know when it's been delivered, where it's been delivered, and it can be followed up with some sort of digital marketing or digital outreach, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I've said this to my kids. I've said this to my wife. I've said this to my friends. If you go through high school, the peak of high school mathematics education is calculus, right? Maybe you get in calculus, when you're a junior or senior. If you're doing that, you're one of the smart kids, you're doing great. I don't think many people need calculus at all. I think what they need is basic probability, basic statistics on placing bets, right? You place bets on your career, you place bets on, the probability of certain marketing strategies working. Some bets are long shots, some bets are a sure thing. And now everybody, because data is so much easier to track, it's so accessible. You get a sense for placing bets when you study applied statistics, for example, right? It's not super hard. So I would argue that, dare I say, even advanced algebra shouldn't be taught in the schools. I think it should be applied statistics, probability, and that can come before geometry, before trigonometry, right? Because what you're saying is spot on. You're always getting these data sets. And if you say, hey, I sent out 10,000 flyers and got one job from it. Okay, well, what did it cost? So I got to send 10,000 for every one, okay. You get a sense for the probability of that working. Is it 3%? Is it 5%? Oh, I've got something over here. I'm fishing this pond. I'm banging out 45% of everybody who sees this one thing is coming to me for paint jobs or for video work or for SEO or for whatever.
Yeah,
it's that acknowledgement and education in applied statistics that I think everybody needs. Certainly anybody in business, well, anybody in life, right? It is a probability game.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned that, because in digital marketing, we look at so much data as a digital marketer, right? So we're always looking at the statistics and the data. We track everything, right, that we're doing for our clients. And we pull it into a nice dashboard and review it once a month with our clients. We're looking at it almost every day, but I wouldn't want to bore our clients to tears by saying, hey, look what we saw today, right? So we kind of summarize it in a month and sit down, do a Zoom call with them and take them through the dashboard and show them what's working. And if it's not working, we tweak it. And we're doing that on a daily basis. We're tweaking things and making sure that we're getting more honed in and more refined so that we're getting good results for them. Because, at the end of the day, what we want to be able to do is drive more customer activity. You've probably heard me say this before. We want to drive more customer activity because that creates more business and that increases revenue. So bottom line, those are the three things, and if you're not looking at the data, you're not going to know what's working.
What's the saying? Something that you measure improves, right? Whatever you measure improves. What you don't measure, it's a shot in the dark, right?
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because with SBM, with Streamline Business Media, we give reports on what videos are getting clicks, right? And you get a sense for, some people are like, well, let's say some of our clients are real estate agents. And they say, I keep doing these market updates. They're the most boring things I do. I don't like doing them. And we go, that's 90% of what people are watching of yours. Like, keep doing that, you know? And they say, well, I love this story about, I don't know, the septic system I saved or something. It's like, well, 3 people watched that video and 3,000 people watched your market updates. So consider where you want to focus your efforts.
Give them what they want, not what you think they need, right? You have to give them the content that they want to see and that they want to view. And interesting when you said that, one of the things that I thought of, because we tell our clients this if they're creating their own content, whether it's written or whatever, is don't tell them how you make the sausage. People want to know how good the sausage, tell them the results, because marketing is all about the results. You think back of all these commercials you watched, the really good commercials over the years, right? It's always a before and after result. The weight loss ones, they're brilliant at it. It's like, here I am before and here I am after, right? People buy the after result, or how good the sausage tastes. That's what they want to hear.
That's so true. We bought SprayNet, which is a fancy painting franchise with a bunch of patented coatings, and nobody cares about the 2-component cross-linking polyurethane that is patented and blah, blah, blah. It took us years to develop. Nobody cares. If you do a picture of an ugly house, the outside of an ugly house, the before, and then the picture of it when we're done, which is beautiful, those just rock on Facebook, on Instagram. That's all it is. Before ugly, after beautiful. SprayNet, Douglas County, call us. And that's what works.
And how long is your guarantee with SprayNet? It's like
It's long. It's 15 years. Yeah,
15
that's
years.
the minimum. We have coatings that last forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A new beautiful home that lasts, at least 15 years. Yeah, that's what I'm buying.
Well, yeah, that's and so that's the messaging, right? Here's before, here's after, and our claim is it's going to look like that in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and we're not coming back. We're not coming back because it sticks. And if it does peel, we're going to come fix it. But we don't even bother with that. It's just, here's something ugly, here's something beautiful. And by the way, that beautiful is going to last decades. And all the nerdy stuff, we call it the calculus or the chemistry of SprayNet. Snoozers, right? Nobody really cares. And I'm kind of a nerd. One of the reasons I bought access to these patents is because they're incredible. But again, people don't want to hear my nerdiness talk about the nerdy stuff I bought to bring their nerdy service to. They don't care about any of that. Ugly, then beautiful, and it sticks. So you're spot on. So I have learned exactly what you just said. Tell them what they're interested in, not what you think is interesting. We are customer focused, not Chris focused.
Yep. Yeah. Anna, my wife and business partner, has to remind me that all the time because I get nerded out talking about digital marketing and, technically how it works. And she's like, nobody wants to hear that. I'm like, I know, but it's so fun to talk about. She goes, nobody wants to hear
that. There's a time and place, right? When the nerds get together, the mastermind, right? Yeah. Coaching stuff. But at the end of the day, you're out to be of service to the community of business owners, the community of whatever community you're serving, and them knowing how the sausage is made is not as important as how delicious the sausage is. That's he's spot on. Okay. I want to tell you something. You said something to me, I don't know, a week ago, and it's been percolating and we've thought about it. And I'm like, if Dave is just going to say this to me, I'm just going to do it. Right. So I want your opinion. We started an affiliate program for Streamline Business Media, right? Yeah. Streamline Business Media is as simple as it gets, right? If you can record content, you're talking to somebody smart. We're doing it right now. You have Dave Fingers on your podcast. You ask him a bunch of cool questions. You upload the video to Streamline Business Media. You do nothing else. It chops it up, puts it in long form chapters, short form, posts it for you, and brings you business because you're putting stuff out there. Now, we do have strategy and we do, we get a little nerdy, but that's essentially it. And then you are like, dude, do you even have an affiliate program? Get an affiliate program. Yeah. And I was like, Dave, I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about it. And when somebody that I respect, who's a pro, who knows their stuff, says something to me, I will listen. So give me your thoughts on this. Streamline Business Media is $500 a month, right? Up to 8 hours of video processing for $500 a month. So you can get, depending on how many videos you get out of 8 hours, you could get 50, 60. But we started a program that said, hey, if you send us a client and they stick around for a month, we'll give you $150. If you send us a client and they stick around for 6 months, we'll give you $100 a month for every month they use our services. And then I thought of the third one. Hey, if we're letting people choose, and you tell me what you think of this. So hot, medium, and mild, right? And so the hot is, hey, send us a client that we can be of service to, and we'll give you 10% of their, $500 a month for life, for as long as they're a client. So those are three. Tell me your thoughts. Do you like the three options? Should we just offer one option? And what do you think in that price range? I'm looking for your approval or disapproval.
No, I like option 2 and 3. Sign me up.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be an affiliate. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those are good. That's a good program.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, and I say this to everybody who comes on the podcast, it is all about being of service. In every direction you can be of service. So you are of service to your clients, obviously. If you're not client focused, good luck. You're not going to be in business, right? But you're also in service of the people who are your power partners, the people who are referring you business, the people who, appreciate you or respect you enough or the product enough to recommend you. Well, I want to be of service to them. So when you said, dude, get that affiliate program going, yes, sir, Dave, I'm on it.
Sure. It just gives people an added incentive to talk about your product.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing product. I mean, I had mentioned to you when we were talking last week, I had a client for probably 5 years, and we would do 2 Zoom videos a month to create content for them. And then I would take those Zoom videos and I would put it in my software, and I would edit it. And once it was edited, then I would add subtitles. And then, and I had a software that would create the subtitles, but I still had to go through and check it and make sure, because it was relatively new back then and it wasn't getting it exactly right.
You still need a human even now, but yeah.
Yeah. But, it would take me a lot of time, and then going out and posting it, or he would go out and post it. So your product that does all of that and then posts it, and you mentioned it edits it up into smaller snippets, right? Smaller bite-sized pieces of content. That's brilliant. I think you're really onto something there, and I think this is, especially for companies like mine who create content for other companies. This could be a game changer for us.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, we've made it as simple as possible because, like you said, most people, it's their New Year's resolution for their business is to make a bunch of content. They shoot a couple videos, they spend hours editing it, they throw it in an AI, they correct the spelling and the stuff that the AI messes up. Next thing you know, they're in it 4 or 6 hours. They've got a couple videos. Now they got to post it. And they usually give up by February, mid-February, right? With this, just shoot it. Send us a link. Do nothing else. I mean, we do a lot. You can get in there and approve each post if you want to. I just train the team. I hold a Series 65. I can't use words like guarantee, or I can't quote rates or returns. I got to be careful with what I said, and so I had to train the team to watch and put a freeze on a video that might not be okay.
Right.
But once I got them trained, I don't even review my post. They just do it. And I went, and I'm not a big social media guy. I spent, less than an hour on social media last year for the whole year. But I went from a few hundred followers on LinkedIn to I'm almost at 1,400 now.
Well done.
And then I went from a few hundred views on YouTube to 20,000. And most importantly, I went from 0 revenue generated from my own social media platforms to a little over 500,000. That's where the rubber really meets the road.
Absolutely.
So we're all in on that. I've got another question for you, Dave. You're smarter than me and wiser than me in this digital world. You're
giving me way too much credit, Chris. Way too much credit.
Well, if you could solve this problem for me, it would be amazing. So I don't watch any of my videos. I just put them out. I just talk to smart people and put them out, and it creates a lot of value in every direction. And we've had clients come in and build teams up to 50. We have a great realtor team who came in, went from a few people on his team to up to 50 people on his team now. And that's in less than a year. And he's been pumped out a boatload of content for him. Now there's the other folks who know they need to do it, who know how valuable it is, but they just can't bring themselves for whatever reason to put a camera in front of their face and talk. And so I'll give you our solutions, and then I'd love to hear your ideas to help people make content. One, I say do what we're doing right now. Have somebody on, call it a podcast, make it easy, have someone that's smart, that you respect, and then you can talk to for an hour and just talk about your business. There it is. That's solution one. Solution two is find an accountability partner. And we don't want to be the accountability partner for every one of our clients, right? But those are my two solutions. That hasn't worked with everybody. How do you inspire, or how do you get your clients to make content when you know it's so valuable?
That's the $1 million question. So a perfect example when I started out in the digital marketing world in 2009, and I initially started by doing websites, just websites and SEO, and some social media management. But when I would build websites, I would tell them, okay, I'm going to build the website. I'll provide the images because we'll use stock free images, that sort of thing. But you have to give me the content. Okay, no problem. I could never get content. Never get. I mean, it's so hard to get people to create content because it's hard for a lot of people. Heck, it's hard for me. It's hard for me still. So we finally just got to the point where we include content writing in our proposals for our websites because everything would be done, but I'd still be waiting for the content. So, but for video, you said one thing. It was very interesting. Your second solution is an accountability partner. So with that accountability partner, are you setting that up so it's like Chris, you're accountable. You have to go do a video, and I'll do a video, and we're going to be accountable to each other. The other thing we can do is take it a step further, have an accountability partner that they always do a podcast together and talk about a subject.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Like like if you're watching a talk news show or something, they always have and you pick a subject and they both talk about it, right? Especially if not everybody is is really outgoing. Maybe they feel it takes them out of their comfort zone to go ask somebody, hey, would you do a podcast with me? But if they have somebody that they know, trust, and like they have good rapport together, just have them, the two of them, do a podcast together.
That's a great idea, and I'm actually doing that with my partner Peter Straub. We regularly shoot podcasts together.
Yeah.
That is an excellent idea. Okay, I'm going to do that one now. The rub is always, it seems so easy when you articulate it, right? So I say, okay, to really thrive with SBM, with Streamline Business Media and making videos, all you need is an hour a week or one morning a month, 4 hours a month. And so I've taken some tough love approaches with some folks, and I've said, listen, if you don't have $500 and you can't commit one Saturday morning, right, or one Monday morning to do this, then you're not in the game. It's just admit it. You're not in the game, and it's not your game to play.
Right.
And that has fired some people up.
Oh, really?
and here's one thing I've learned, and we have some real great data on it. And Coca-Cola did a wonderful experiment. Everybody on planet Earth knows Coca-Cola. And Coke said, hey, we're Coke. We don't need to advertise anymore. We don't need to remind people we exist, right? We're Coke. Everybody knows us. So they stopped advertising. And what happened to their sales?
Yeah.
Even if everybody on planet Earth knows what you do, knows what you sell, you still have to remind them that you exist. And you might get tired of talking about, the foundations of digital presence. You might get tired of talking about reputation management. But guess what? You've got to keep talking about it, right? You've got to keep reminding people. So that idea of doing the same podcast with the same guy, you can still say the same things. And don't, just because you're getting tired of it doesn't mean your audience is getting tired of it.
Right.
The last thing I'll throw in, and I'd love your comments on this, is I learned about, Google calls it the messy middle, right? The days of a sales funnel going, I need SEO, I Google SEO, I find Dave Fingers, I call Dave Fingers, I sign a contract, and now he's my SEO guy. It is not that linear anymore, right?
No.
They have that, they call it the messy middle. And the messy middle is, I really need SEO. You Google some people, you watch some videos on YouTube, you take a break, you take a month off, you come back, you see Dave talking about it on an Instagram post, you friend him on LinkedIn, you see him in all these different angles, and then finally you get off your butt and you're like, I need to hire somebody in SEO. And then they finally get to the bottom of your funnel, and now they're a client. Google calls that the messy middle. Our tech, Streamline Business Media is built for that messy middle, right? It's you talking about your thing, you getting that, you talking about your thing everywhere you can put it, and then eventually they're going to get down to that bottom of funnel. One, are you in agreement with the messy middle hypothesis, we'll call it? And then two, what else can folks do to contribute to the messy middle.
Yes, you're 100% right, and I agree with you. There is that messy middle, and what we do, and I like Streamline as a as a uh, uh, as a way to help that messy middle, right? Be a tool for that, right? Because it's what you're doing is you talk to somebody or they enter your funnel because they're thinking about it. If they're not picking up the phone and calling you right away, how do you stay how do you stay top of mind, and how do you create that brand awareness so that when they are ready, boom, they're calling you, right? So one thing that we do, and I'll share with you what we do and how we do it, and caution people of what really not to do. So,
Okay.
as many companies do, we do a email marketing campaign, right? So, I don't know if you're on our email list. I'm not sure if I put you in there yet. If it's okay,
Put me in.
I'd love to put
I'm
you
not in. Put me in, please.
Okay. So email marketing can work really well, but it's the messy middle. It's a long-term play, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you don't want to do, and this is my humble opinion, I don't think people want to read boring newsletters,
Right.
right? Somebody, if we talk to a prospect that's thinking about doing digital marketing and they want, we call it an irresistible offer or a lead capture box on their website, if it says sign up for my newsletter, my first question is, how many people are signing up? Nobody. Like, nobody wants to read a newsletter, right? I think that the time for that is long past. So what you have to be able to do with, just like what you're doing with our podcast, is creating interesting information that people want to know about, right? So and not selling them, right? So our email marketing uh, emails, they're not selling. They're like, hey, here's a tool that we discovered. This could be really helpful if you're looking to want to solve this problem, or you want to know how to do this. So we're always giving out information that people can hopefully use, that they would find interesting. And it has our, if you want help with this, if you want help with it, you don't want to do it yourself, let us know. But we're giving them the resources and trying to be of value to people in our email. And it's not, the emails aren't long, right? They're not like 500 word emails, maybe 100 words or something like that, just with a very specific point to solve a problem or to provide value with an offer to help if they need it.
That's
So,
exactly right. Yeah. You want to give them, you want to improve their lives in the most efficient way possible.
A perfect example of how it's worked for us. It was about a year ago. That big coil spring on your garage door opener, it broke. I didn't know a garage door person. So guess what we did? We Googled somebody, right?
Yeah.
He came, and it happened to be the business owner. He's had his business, 6 or 7 years. And he's like, he goes, the reason I came is when I looked at what you guys did, you're a digital marketing firm. I'm like, yes, we are. He goes, well, here's what I'm doing. He told us all the things that he was doing. He goes, I'm kind of locked into a contract, which by the way, we don't do. It's month to month. I always tell people, if a digital marketing firm wants you to sign a long-term contract, walk, don't run.
I totally agree. We do month to month.
Yep.
100% agree. That's some wisdom. Say that again, Dave.
If a digital marketing firm wants you to sign a long-term contract, walk, or run, don't walk. Because if they're doing a good job for you, you're going to stick around.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So just so happened he was in that long-term contract. We're like, no problem. Let's keep in touch. We put him in our email list. He's been getting our emails for a year. Called us up last month. He goes, I'm ready. I want to talk to you guys. We went out and did a presentation, created a strategy for him. He's going to start with us on June 1st. So, and it wasn't us selling him all the time. It was just giving him good information, staying top of mind. And he's like, I'm ready. Let's talk. Let me see what you guys got. Let me see what strategy would you put together for me. And we did that, and there we go. But that's that messy middle, right? He's stuck in something he can't get out of, or maybe they're thinking about it. They haven't decided if it's the timing's not right for them. I mean, we all start researching things when we think about it before we're ready. Not on everything, but on a lot of things, right? if it's a plumber or an electrician, you kind of need them right now, right? But
well, that's right. And so you might send somebody a monthly newsletter, and they might open it 10% of the time. Maybe they open it once or twice a year, but they open it when it's time to learn about SEO, right? Or if they're struggling with SEO in their business, maybe they're opening it every month and they're getting a little tidbit. And once they confirm that you've improved their SEO or their messy middle or their reputation management, whatever you've helped them with, now you've got one click in your favor. And you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is being of service, serving your clients, your potential clients. Lon Welsh, who founded Your Castle Real Estate, and now he has Ironton Capital. So I've worked with him before, and he made an adjustment to his newsletter that I love. He puts the read time at the top of each little section. And so if I see this monster newsletter, I go, dude, this could take me 20 minutes. I don't have 20 minutes. But Lon says 90-second read, 60-second read,
that's
2-minute read. And what do you know? I guarantee it has increased my read rate because he's told me the time exposure that I have to this. And then what do you know? He tells me how long, he gets me to read it, and it's of value. So guess who opens his newsletters?
Right.
Me.
And that's a newsletter that would work because it's small chunks of information versus a newsletter with multiple different topics that, like you said, is going to take you 20 minutes, right? As business owners, we're busy. We're running, we're gunning, we're doing things. I hate to say it, but most of us have a very short attention span as business owners, right? Just because there's so many different things going on. But we still want information, but we're going to take it in small bite-sized pieces.
That's right.
That's brilliant.
Well, I tell you, every time I talk to you, I get a little wiser, a little better, and something to implement. So thank you for being on the pod.
You're welcome. Feeling is mutual, my friend. Feeling is mutual. Thank you. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Absolutely. We'll do it again. Dave Fingers, Wired Mustang. You're the man. We'll see you soon, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, man. See ya.
See ya.